There is an African American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And my... I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
And I am pressing charges.
Yeah, and illegally selling water without a permit?
I see this black gentleman with these two little white kids, and so I just had a funny feeling. I follow him.
No, I recommend not following him.
Welcome to my YouTube series Confrontation, where I'll be taking a look at confrontations between police and citizens, and also citizens and other citizens. Now here we have a video, okay, and here we're in Longview, Texas, where citizens and police officers of the Longview Police Department, they have a bit of a standoff. And there's a huge confrontation. Watch, because Coach is going to break down the whole confrontation. Now, before we get started with this particular confrontation, okay, what happened before the escalation of this situation went down was that a person was pulled over in this particular neighborhood, and some of the citizens and some of the residents of this neighborhood, they came out to see what was going on with this police stop because of all the threats of police brutality and violence going on throughout the country. Okay, these people, they actually came out to see what was going on during a traffic stop. Let's continue with the confrontation.
Oh God! What's that? Yeah. I just want to. Yo. You gonna need a whole bunch of back up. Whole bunch of it. You gonna need a whole bunch of it. You gonna need a whole bunch of it. Yo. Where the black lives at? Where the black lives at? Where the black lives at?
I want to note, okay, the officer here, okay? I want to note the officer on the left. I do want to note that, his extreme composure during this situation. And I know some people, you're probably thinking, well, why don't the officer, the guy's being belligerent. The guy, is making, threatening comments to him. What can a police officer do? Well, I kind of hate to tell y'all this, but that police officer, he really can't do anything. Can't do a thing. You see, an officer, he can't use any kind of force unless, okay, let's look at Texas Law Penal Code 951, okay? Part C. A peace officer is justified in using force, deadly force, against another when and to the degree the peace officer reasonably believes that deadly force is immediately necessary to make an arrest or to prevent an escape after arrest. If the use of force would have been justified under subsection A, okay, the peace officer reasonably believes that the conduct for which arrest is authorized included the use of attempted use of deadly force. Okay, so what that is saying is that, honestly, this guy is not presenting a physical threat. Okay, yeah, he's there in his face. Yeah, he's cussing him out. But for all you people, if I was the cops, I would have did this. No. Because now you're looking at an instant lawsuit. Okay, so this cop pretty much got to sit back and just take the abuse. Let's continue.
What you on?
You drop it. Yeah. My nephew face. I'm 34. Touch me again. Touch me again. I'm gonna whip your bitch. Touch me again.
Okay.
Soon as you touch me, I'm gonna whip your bitch.
Well, you're probably wondering, what can the police do if somebody's just sitting there communicating threats to you? Well, folks, I tell you, threatening a police officer could lead to severe consequences. Okay, if you make a threat against a police officer, you can be charged with, resisting an executive officer. Okay, resisting arrest. And this also in some situations, the law can interpret this as an assault. A verbal, like just verbally threatening an officer, you can land yourself in jail. But also too, not only that, okay, they can also, if you threaten violence against an officer, okay, you could face up to 365 days in jail, fines of up to $10,000. Okay, I mean it's crazy, but merely verbally threatening an officer in this situation could land you some jail time, man. So I guess if you escalate and if your situation get to a point where you get so angry at the officers, just use your Fifth Amendment right. Just use that right. You have the right to remain silent. Just shut the hell up. Let's continue with the confrontation.
Oh, God. Hey, I don't get dropped. Oh, God. Boy, look at this. Look at that. Look at this. Hey, look ugly little bitch. Hey, look ugly little.
Now, simply just calling a police officer a name, okay, that's not violating any law, okay, just simply calling them a name. But when you take it to the part of, hey, such as the guy said, if you touch me, I'll drop your bitch ass. Or, that. See, that can be taken as an assault. And, in some states, they can also actually take your verbal assault, your verbal threats to make an assault as a misdemeanor crime of making an assault. But these officers, they're doing a pretty good job of actually just maintaining their composure, especially the officer that you see here on the screen. This situation could have got ugly. This situation could have got ugly real fast. But, there are some police officers that do have restraint, that actually they do their jobs the way they're supposed to do them. Let's continue with the confrontation.
You
ass people in this world.
What's your name, man?
too.
My name, I
I just wanted to talk to you.
You supposed to state your name first. Hey, you supposed to state your name first.
I got free word of speech.
Police officers in plain clothes must identify themselves when using their police powers. However, they're not required to identify themselves on demand and may even lie about the status as a police officer in some situations. A sting operation, but we know that cops lie all the time.
So I don't know why.
Move back up.
Couple of breaks in the video, guys. Just stay patient.
I got him. I got him. I got him.
You got us, dude.
I got you.
Yeah, you got us.
I got you, boy.
Sure.
I got you, boy.
What's your name,
Hey,
man?
I got you. What's your name? What's your name? I ain't gonna say your name. Coronavirus. Coronavirus.
Yeah, you
Coronavirus.
within 6 feet of me, and I was standing right here. You walked up to my 6 feet.
Coronavirus.
Yeah.
Coronavirus. Coronavirus.
I'm gonna drop
Now, you guys heard the citizen actually say, "Hey, I'm gonna drop that ass." That's a threat against a police officer. Okay, it's a threat. Had this officer reacted, had he reacted, he actually could have made this a misdemeanor crime, and this gentleman he's breaking the law. So now, it kind of just turns in from taunts and, making fun to actually communicating a threat. And what happens is this gentleman, the citizen, he was getting upset because the officers, he actually showed so much composure that, okay, now what the citizen tried to do was take it to the next level. Well, I mean, it didn't work. Okay, let's continue with the confrontation.
We matter. Need more than this. Oh God.
You brave or something because you got this vest on?
Y'all gonna need more than that. Hey. Oh God.
Touch me, I'm gonna drop your bad.
Hey. Hey, yo. They gonna need more than that. I don't know if you department. They gonna need the whole department. They gonna need the whole department. They gonna need the whole department. Hey, I don't need the whole department. Hey, I don't need the whole department. Hey, I don't need the whole department. Y'all gonna need the whole department. Hey, y'all gonna need the whole department, man. The whole department. Look at him. You like Peter Griffin. Peter Griffin.
Wow. Man, they straight roasted the hell out of this guy. And I gotta admit, it was funny as hell.
I look like Peter. Oh God. Y'all ugly as boy. Y'all niggas ugly as f. Oh God, these niggas ugly as f. Hey, ugly as f. Hey, y'all straight motherfucker. Johnny Test.
Yeah.
Y'all look good in them suits, huh? Damn, y'all need all these people. Damn. Y'all deep them up.
Don't have a life, bro.
Y'all deep as you heard me.
You want us to get you a chair?
Look what y'all doing, man.
You sure?
That's her son right there, bro.
I'm just a man.
Now you worry about it. So left him alone, ugly ass.
I just want a job.
Ugly ass. So left him alone, ugly ass.
Folks, let me go ahead and tell you for your own safety, okay? It is never a good idea to confront police officers with threatening or verbal abuse. It's never a good idea. You know, you can be taken to jail, or, you know, depending upon who the cop is, you know, you can lose your life. I think these officers were more than courteous. You know, and I'm sitting here looking at this guy over here, you know, who's, you know, I guess they're trying to stand up for somebody that got pulled over. The officers the officers are very sympathetic to the lady that said, "Hey, I've had a stroke." These officers are very sympathetic. They even offered the woman a chair. And the gentleman, you know, I don't know. I think they were more, you know, these guys were more, you know, interested in antagonizing these police officers instead of actually, you know what? Hey, listen, you know, we know you've been through a lot. Your legs are wobbly. Hey, why don't you come over here and sit down? These guys didn't do that. The officers, though, you know, this confrontation, it could have went bad, but the officers, they chose to not make it bad. Let's continue with the confrontation.
So left him alone, ugly ass. So left him alone, ugly ass. Ugly ass. Especially you, ugly ass. Ugly ass. Ugly ass. My nigga. Oh God. Ugly ass. Ugly ass. Ugly ass. Niggas cool, boy. Damn, look at how they loud, man.
For no reason.
For one man, what the f? They got the whole department that chill. That nigga cooks a little bit. Ugly.
She said she didn't want to hang her legs.
You said her legs wobbly?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're just going to get her a chair.
Alright. It look like your ears wobbly too.
And still, ladies and gentlemen, still no sympathy for the woman, okay? This police officer, the one that was going toward the house, you know, exercised extreme composure. And, you know, he was actually concerned about the woman who had the stroke, whose legs are very wobbly. But this gentleman holding the camera, he's not really concerned about that. He is concerned with antagonizing the police officers. And I got to call it how I see it.
Oh God. Okay. I'm fine real quick. Who on the first? I think I'm gonna go make it 2. I'm gonna go make it 2 real quick. Look at this.
My God, man. This poor guy. Boy, did they roast the hell out of him. And you know, this cop right here, you know he was mad. He was extremely mad. I mean, because it's almost like reverse bullying. Like, don't you know, you guys ever notice that we're so used to seeing the cops bully people? Well, now this guy's getting bullied. Yes. I got to look at this, but guys, It's funny. The way that they're bullying this guy, it's not right, but it is funny. This guy got the worst of all of the roasting. I mean, they roasted the hell out of this guy.
Please, like that Green Hornet. Ugly. Ugly little motherfucker. Look, he's staying at his job. He really don't want no problems.
Okay, guys. I got to reiterate to y'all again, okay? Never is it good to antagonize police officers. Never is it good. This guy probably is one of those cops. He's probably one that could explode. Okay, it's just never a good idea. Like, you can't beat police on the street. See, these guys, they were smart. The guys antagonized them. They knew how far to go. Nobody touched one of these officers, man. You can never beat a cop on the street. You always beat a cop in court. But any judge looking at this footage, any judge, you know, these cops would have been exonerated of any wrongdoing if this guy had claimed that, you know, this guy did claim that one of the officers hit him. Well, we saw in the video that no officer hit or struck anybody in this video.
They don't want no problems. That no problem. Look at this. That nigga like Johnny Test. Johnny Test looking at. Hey, nigga, hey, nigga, oh, where you going? Oompa Loompa. Humpty Dumpty. Sat on the wall. Where you going? Damn.
It's already caught, baby. Just
It's
quiet.
out here. Yeah.
He just quiet. He just look like that. Let's see. Hey, go people, right?
Yeah,
Go get some bad people.
I need the kids.
Go get some bad people.
Okay, let's go ahead and give out some behavior ratings, okay? Let's start with the cameraman. The cameraman, I gave him a need improvement. Okay, the reason why he got needs improvement is because although he didn't threaten anybody, I didn't hear him threaten anybody. I didn't hear him threaten any officers. But, you know, he wasn't really helping with the situation. He was more so helping escalate an already already stressful situation. And also, too, I gave him a needs improvement because of his lack of empathy for the woman that needed a chair. Your cameraman gets a needs improvement. Now, I gave the first police officer on the left side, I gave his conduct score, I gave him an excellent. He was very composed. Okay, the guy even got in his face and told him that, you know, he would slap his bitch ass and all this other stuff. But this police officer showed a great deal of restraint. And, you know, that's kind of hard. It seems to be a fairly young guy. And it's just pretty hard for young guys to show any restraint. So, I definitely thought that he deserved a conduct score of excellent. Okay, to the man who threatened the police officer, said that, you know, he slap his bitch ass. I've given him the name, and I know my last category was SAP, stupid ass person. I've given this guy the name, stupid ass motherfucker. Listen, not only could his actions have, you know, really got somebody hurt, he could have got somebody killed, and he could have got his own self killed. Okay? His actions, he could have got people arrested. Okay, he was already escalating a situation that did not need it to be escalated. Okay, this guy gets the Sam from me, okay? He is a Sam. Wow, unbelievable. And the fact that these cops showed restraint and didn't shoot anybody, that's a miracle in itself. But the man who threatened the officer got a big old fat Sam. Oh, and also this gentleman, he also lied about the officer hitting him. Okay, this police officer never touched him. Okay, the police officer never even touched the guy. The guy was having some kind of delusional spell. I don't know. But you do get people sometimes, they will try to taunt the police because they know that if they taunt the police and get the police to act to break character, okay, they know that they can get a lot of money on the back end of that. The entire LONGVIEW Police Department in Texas, I gave them a score of excellent, okay? The officers, they were very compassionate. You know, they had compassion for the woman, you know, who was having a hard time walking. They didn't escalate the situation. They acted very professionally. And, you know, I mean, if officers could always act like this when they go out and make, you know, any kind of interaction with the civilians, okay, you know, things would be a lot better. You know, people, you know, wouldn't give the police such a bad rap. Okay, they wouldn't. But see, this is what cops are supposed to do, and unfortunately, there are parts of the job that are just not, it's just not like glamorous. Being a cop is a difficult job, but that's what you sign up for, okay? And I think a lot of this outrage that people are having and the disrespect and the total discontent for officers is because of what's been going on nationwide. Just as police as a whole, they got to do an overhaul. Okay, they got to do an overhaul. But I think the Longview Police Department, I think that they're on their way to actually making an overhaul and doing policing the way that policing is supposed to happen. And finally, this guy right here. Oh, man. This poor guy right here. God, dog. Man, look. This dude got roasted hard. Like, what the heck? Listen, man. Listen, I think I might have to give him a need improvement, man, because he ain't even come with no comebacks. Yeah, but with all jokes aside, though, the Longview Police Department, they did a good job. Okay, they really did a good job. I gave them an excellent on their conduct score. And I think more police, more police and more police, as an organization, they need to have restraint like this because the public, the reason for this is the public don't trust police. Okay, the public don't trust police. And you even see here on a simple traffic stop, I mean, just look how many police officers came for one guy on a simple traffic stop. That ought to tell you, man, what people think about the police. And this is a hole that the police, they've dug for themselves. And these police officers, they got to dig their way out of this hole. Thank you for watching Confrontation.
There is an African-American man. I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately.
And I am pressing charges.
Yeah, and illegally selling water without a permit?
I see this black gentleman with these two little white kids, and so I just had a funny feeling. I follow him.
No, I recommend not.